Many families are feeling the impact of the sluggish economy. Layoffs, foreclosures, and dipping stocks leave people struggling to pay bills. Economists call it a recession, but those impacted, and there's many of them, compare it to a depression.
It's just kind of like what we're going through now.
Francis Brewer lived through the Great Depression. 78 years later, he sees similar signs. Tougher times are here to come.
It hit Wall Street and took a while for it to get to the small towns.
Rocky Financial Times found Francis and his family on a grain farm between Kentland and Goodland.
Nothing was ever thrown away. Nothing. I mean, the feed sacks were pillowcases, and you could make a blouse out of them, make a shirt out of them, make a skirt.
Purdue economics professor Jerry Lynch says there's no official definition of recession or depression. Despite rising unemployment and fewer goods and services being produced, Lynch believes we are far from a depression.
Is this going to be like the Great Depression? We'd have to wait 4 years to see. We'd have to have 3.5 more years of very difficult economic times.
One economic indicator to compare, the number of workers without jobs.
The unemployment rate right now is about 8.1%. The unemployment rate at the peak of the Great Depression was 25%.
Francis's parents found themselves in that percentage. Grain commodities plummeted, and the family couldn't sell their corn, so the family used its livelihood for heat.
Since the market for corn went to zero, I remember my dad and his brothers, they would scoop corn in the furnace.
There was no way to sell the corn and no money to buy more seed. So Francis's family sold the farm to survive.
I begged to stay home that day. I was 6. I wanted to skip school and stay home, and they wouldn't let me. So when I got on the school bus, I heard the auctioneer out in the barn lot.
These tough economic times are impacting workers in a different way. Jobs once considered recession-proof are now not safe. White-collar workers with higher degrees are finding themselves in the unemployment line.
This particular downturn is going to hit the white-collar segment in a sense more because the financial sector and the banking sector is taking a hit, but also because, not just for the United States, but worldwide, employment in manufacturing is lower today than it was 25 to 30 years ago.
Lynch says the good news is Greater Lafayette will fare far better than other areas. Purdue University will help shelter many from financial ruin.
Well, there are still 40,000 students walking around on campus, and they need services, and they need faculty to teach them.
Even when the economy shows signs of recovery, job recovery will lag. Employers will hesitate to hire people until they are sure there is enough work to keep them busy.
You want to make sure that the turnaround has come before you take people back on.
When will prosperous times return? Francis struggled years after the Depression officially ended, and he has an answer.
And everybody asks, how long will it last? How long will it be over? Well, it'll depend on you. You may rise faster. You may be in a job where it don't affect you.
And thank you to Mr. Brewer for sharing his stories with us. Well,